Well, the wait is almost over. Has it felt like you've had to wait a long time for Christmas to arrive this year, to be able to open your presents, to be able to sing carols and celebrate? Yeah, it has felt like a long time this year. But our story today is about someone who waited a very, very long time for the first Christmas. In fact, he waited his whole life. Imagine waiting your whole life for Christmas to come. Well, you see, his name was Simeon, and when he met Jesus, he was a very, very old man. You see, God made Simeon a promise. God said to him, "You will see the Messiah." Now, that's a big word, right? Messiah is the Hebrew word that meant God's rescuer or God's savior. Sometimes in the Bible, they use the word Christ, which means exactly the same, but it's from the Greek language. And God promised Simeon that he wouldn't die without seeing God's salvation or the Messiah or the Christ. And God said, go to the temple because that's where you'll see him. Now, Jesus had been born. And because Joseph and Mary were Jews, they had to keep the law, and they were good Jews. So 8 days after Jesus was born, they took him to the temple to do the things that needed to be done for a child that had been born. And when they took him into the temple, Simeon saw him, and God said in Simeon's ear, "That's the one." And Simeon ran to them and he grabbed the baby and he said, "I have lived to see God's salvation." God had kept his promise to Simeon. But he hadn't just kept his promise to Simeon, he had kept his promise to everyone. Simeon, you and me, he had sent the one that would save. Remember what Jesus means. It means God saves. How amazing is it that God saves? And at Christmas time, even though sometimes we feel like we've waited so long, we can remember that at the end of the day, God always keeps his promise. That's what all of this is about. It's remembering that God keeps his promises. God saves. I'd like you to pray for someone who isn't a follower of Jesus yet. Maybe they haven't heard this part of the story. Maybe they're still waiting and they don't even know. Why don't you spend just a moment praying for them, thanking God for them, and asking God to show them that he loves them. See you tomorrow.